the critical explanation or interpretation of a body of work. We examine the fandoms of young and old, looking from origin to ending and everywhere in between. They say you never truly know someone until you know what they are passionate about. Sit back and buckle up. Welcome to the Exegesis.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? It's a fun and exciting Thursday night. So, man, it's been a couple of weeks. Um, we'll get to that in a minute. But you know what? Hey, first, let's get to some housekeeping here. Uh, First of all, welcome to the Exegesis. This is the fandom analysis podcast where we look at any sort of fandoms that are in pop culture, whether they are present, past, or future. We get down to the nuts and bolts of them, and we just have a good time doing it. We normally have a very lively chat. So if you're listening to the audio only version, you can come check us out on the YouTubes and join into the amazing chat that we normally have. For those that just like to look around at all sorts of stuff, of course, the bio links. We are part of the Red 5 network. So you can go down to bio.link/Red5. Red, the number 5. Of course, we are a group of podcasters, much like you guys, that just love nerd stuff. And we talk about it. So we have all sorts of different takes, personalities, show types. Just go to the link, bio.link/Red, the number 5, and you'll see all of the shows there. For additional content from me, you could always go to bio.link/exegesis, EXEGESIS. And that will get you to past episodes that I have on there. Anything that might not be on the YouTube channel, go in there and check it out. But of course, if you are here in the listening on YouTube, do me a big favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. So next time that I go live or put out any sort of content, then you will be notified. Also, if you don't mind, leave me a comment below. I love comments. I love talking with people. That's why we do this. So, man, what a great day. What a great day. Let's see. In the chat so far, we have Pop My Culture is there. Appreciate you, Shanti. She gave us a like. Blake Howell from the Dork Wars podcast is there. Man, I'm sure we'll get some more here in a minute. It's only a few minutes into the show. Let's see. About me. The surgery went well. I'll try to, trying to get this right. I guess it's all right. So, no. Anyway, a scar right here. I'm just trying. Oh, there it is. There you go. So you can see that scar there. You really can't see the one on this side here. So thankfully, I had a really good surgeon. They took out the tumor. They took out my parotid gland or parotid gland or whatever. However that goes. My glasses are crooked. Imagine it. All right. Anyway. All right. We all need adjustments, I guess. Anyway, so surgery went successful. That was 2 weeks ago. I did have a best of show thanks to Cam Ray. And we talked about music and how awesome the music of Star Wars is. And then the next Thursday, I was actually traveling back home. Um, so let's see, something else. Let's see, anything else that we might notice. You'll notice that when I talk, for those that are watching the stream, my mouth does not work right. So I might slur words. I might sound a little different. I'll show you what it looks like when I smile. This part doesn't work. Hopefully that will go away and I'll resume full function here in maybe 3 to 6 months, they say. Weird thing is that my ear on this side here, they had to sever a nerve to get out the gland in the tumor, and my ear now will be forever numb. And that's just an odd feeling when you're used to, especially when you wear glasses, because it's always there on your ear. And I can feel that there's something there. It just feels really odd, but that's all right. So we do have some news. All right, and where did my slides go? Oh no, I did that on my. Oh wait, all right. So let's see. They're there. All right. I thought I was going to be missing a good chunk of this, and I spent some good amount of time trying to find these pictures. So the most recent news that we had is unfortunately we had a passing of a great actor, Irish actor, Michael Gambon, who played. He took over the role of Albus Dumbledore in Harry Potter for Richard Harris, who had passed away. And let's see if this will. There we go. Oh, all right. Yes, Michael Gambon. So for all you Potter fans out there, wands up. Yes, 82 years old. Unfortunately, really good actor, but at 82, you know, sometimes that's to be expected. But I really enjoyed his take on Albus Dumbledore. It was a really good journey that he brought us on. Really brought the character to life, and again took over admirably for the other actor that had passed on. Another one that we have here is the Marvels. The Marvels rating was revealed, I believe it was today, and we're going to get PG-13 for this. Standard fare, I guess, now for Marvel movies, not rated R. It's not PG, just somewhere in the middle. So they'll be able to get away with a little bit more than if it was a PG rating. But Marvel's, a lot of people have, I don't know, either really been excited for it or really cannot stand the premise. And I kind of understand that. When Captain Marvel first came out, I was not necessarily a fan of Brie Larson's take on it. And then I rewatched it, and I kind of really enjoyed the movie, and had a new appreciation for her efforts. The thing that really drove me nuts was the last quarter of the movie, when they involved all the CGI and really transformed the character. And it just really got outlandish from there. But I like the idea of this one. Apparently, when they use their powers, they change places. or something. And yeah, it really looks interesting. I like it. They haven't done this type of movie before, so I'm holding out hope that it does well. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe not. This will come out. It was scheduled to come out in November of 2024, but with the strikes going on, I'm not sure if it will get pushed or not. I don't even know if they've even started anything on it. I would think that they would have if it was supposed to come out next year. That way they could add all the rest of the digital effects and whatnot. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And go from there. And the last bit of news that I have, let me see if I can find this one again. And come on, work for me. There we go. All right. Now that picture is not the greatest. It's a artist representation for a new theme park that is going to be opening up. It's going to take a few years for them to build it, but it's a Universal theme park. Little bit smaller than the one that's in Florida, and just a little smaller than the one that's in California. So they already confirmed that they're going to have, I believe, Mario, Minions, and Harry Potter in this little smaller theme park. It's going to be right outside the Dallas, right in between Dallas and Fort Worth area. But the cool thing is last time I went to Universal, it took all the kids and everything. It took 30 hours to drive there. Yes, you could take an airplane, but when you're bringing 8 people, and it was going to cost us almost $10,000 extra just to fly, where it cost us $500 for gas and meals and everything. So in Frisco is only 8 hours away rather than 30. And California for me is about 18 hours away. So a little bit a little shorter drive. So I'm excited about this. Plus, I mean, they've already shown that they could be successful with a Harry Potter theme, and the Minions as well. The new Super Mario Land is supposed to come out, I believe, next year for Universal. There in Florida, it's a completely separate park. I believe they're calling it Epic. So they will have 3 theme parks there for Universal, all decent size. So I'm excited about that. A little bit closer. Blake says he needs to visit the Florida park. Yes, I do know that you are a Potterhead, the same as I. Long live Slytherin. But yeah, man, it's anytime that we can get into that type of escapism where you go to a theme park and not only do they have rides, but you are fully immersed into a culture. It's amazing. It's a really cool feeling. I don't know. I bought the overpriced wands that you wave them at the different structures and magic happens. I don't know if that will work over for this new park or not. I hope so, just because it costs an arm and a leg to get those special wands that work in the park. But it'll be interesting. So a little bit of news. Kind of went fast through it a little bit because we have 2 large topics to talk about here. And turn off. There we go. And turn that off. All right. So man, I was kind of hoping we'd have more in the chat, but hey, it's fine. Me and Blake, we'll have a good discussion here. That's all right. So yeah, I guess it is time for the main topic. Here we go. yeah, I've been working on my video abilities. So hopefully that comes across well. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, if you're listening to the live only version of this, you're kind of missing out. So join us on Thursdays, 7 Central, 8 on the Eastern Seaboard. Come join us live in the chat. We'll have a discussion. But hey, Megan's here. Jennifer, so my mind seems to have. Oh, all right. Well, hey, welcome here. You're always welcome here, of course. Well, I am random, so that's okay. Not a problem with that. If the shoe fits, pot calls the kettle black, or any of those meanings that they have there. You know what? Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So, all right. Like I said, I was in Houston last week or last 2 weeks. I gave you the best of show with Cam Ray and the music of Star Wars. Last week, I didn't get a chance to put anything together. I was still hoping I would be able to travel home on Wednesday, but that didn't quite work out. And I really wanted to record either like on a Friday or Saturday, but my mouth just wasn't having it, or my face, I guess, not just my mouth, but my face. It's still all numb, all on this side. I really can't feel it. The swelling is almost gone down, so that's good. It's just insanely numb. It'll be all right. But I had a lot of thoughts on these shows. Starting with episode 5, it really has started to pick up a little bit, and not just with goodness, but other stuff as well. And we were having a chat in I believe it was the Dork Wars Discord server. So plug to the Dork Wars Discord server. I'll put that in the show notes here later. If you guys want a fun discussion, go over to the Dork Wars Discord server. Check it out. They really have revamped it and got some cool stuff in there. Anyway, so I was talking with another user, and we seem to always butt heads and have a huge difference of opinion. But we really, I think we really kind of agree on this show. There's a lot of stuff that's in there, and some of it's good, and some of it is just kind of meh. But let's get to it. All right, so kind of a recap, and I'll just kind of go through it as we go. So the title is called Shadow Warrior, and episode 5. Episode 4 ended with them taking off in the hyper ring, and Ahsoka gets kicked off the ledge, and she goes into the water. Sabine gives them the cube. They go take off, go to Peridia, and then at the very end, we see what appears to be the world between worlds. And I'm still not 100% sold on it. Maybe it is, but it's a different version of the world between worlds than we've gotten in, I guess it was what, Rebels, Clone Wars. They both kind of shared a vision of the world between worlds, but this one is really different. So Hera lands, and they're looking for Ahsoka and Sabine. And Jason is in Chopper with her, of course. And we get another great parenting advice from Hera, where she says, we're strangers on this planet. Go hang out, but just kind of stay close. she finds Huyang holding Sabine's helmet, and Huyang says, "I told them to stay together, but you know what? They never listen." So you know what, and that was, I don't know. It just kind of seemed weird, that it's hey, we're on a new planet. All right, yeah, go play with your robot friend. Just stay close. You don't know what's out there, but maybe because they were flying over, they knew that it was okay. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of odd. Um, and then it flashes over to um, back over to the world between worlds, where Ahsoka is on the bridge, and uh, she's face to face with Anakin again. Um, and they have a really odd exchange there, where she's like, "Well, am I dead?" And he's like, "Well, kind of, what do you remember?" And he's like, "You're not dead yet. You still have a chance." And she's like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And he's tells her that you have I'm here to finish your training. And she's like, "Well, what's the lesson?" And the lessons, live or die. Uh, and I think that, and like I said, there's so many ups and downs in this. One of the most uh, incredible shots I think that we get is during this exchange, and Anakin ignites his lightsaber, and Ahsoka looks at him and says, "I will not fight you." And Anakin kind of smirks and says, "I've heard that before," and then leans in. And of course, how did he hear that before? But Luke told him that in Return of the Jedi. And to me, that was just so almost emotional that he brought up that. And I wasn't sure if this was like is this a Clone Wars Anakin, or what type of vision or ghost or whatever, Force ghost or whatever that you want to talk to, because it's not really a Force ghost because it doesn't have that shimmer. He's got his weapon on him. He has his hand. It's not mechanical. So I wasn't sure exactly what we were dealing with there. But when he said that, I was like, "Oh, okay, that was a cool line." And they start to fight. And then so then we have we flash again to the surface side, and this kind of goes back to another gripe of Book of Boba Fett. I mean, there were so many flashbacks, flash forward, flashback, flash forward, flashback. I really want Kai Patterson to redo Ahsoka show and make it where makes more sense. But anyway, we flash forward to the surface. There's mentions of what do you call it? Senator Organa from Teva, and so that kind of sets more of a time frame of where we are, and it really gets concreted in episode 7. But we're kind of filling in the gaps a little bit. We weren't sure, did this take place before Mandalorian season 3, during Mandalorian season 3, or what? But we finally got that. It's Senator Organa, so we know that it's somewhere around that time. Leia hasn't taken off to become a general again. She's still helping out in the Senate. And then we get to another odd thing. Jason is sitting on the edge. Again, great parroting, Hera. I don't know. I just thought that was really odd that she didn't care that he was just sitting on the edge, and he somehow hears the world between worlds. And I don't. That's just, to me, that was just odd. It didn't really make sense. This is the only time out of the times that we've seen World Between Worlds. This is the first time that someone can hear, and maybe it's a Jedi gift or something. I don't know. Maybe somebody else can explain that a little bit better than I can. But he hears lightsabers, and um, so, and I thought, well, maybe it is a Jedi thing. Maybe he can just kind of feel the Force presence. Uh, and then we get more sloppy writing. It's just, then all of a sudden Hera kind of closes her eyes, and then she hears it too. So I'm like, what the hell? Are they going to make another person Force sensitive? We've already gotten Sabine out of nowhere being somehow Force sensitive. So is this yet another Force sensitive person? And yes, I know Hera spent so much time with Kanan, but that doesn't mean that she's Force sensitive. But all of a sudden, she can hear the lightsabers too, and hear something below the surface. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't really. It didn't really make sense. Good. I'm not the only one. Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that. For a second, I thought maybe I was the only one that thought it was just weird. But one of the other notes that I have here is, and I wish I could go back, and I don't think they've released the score for this one yet. But the music at this point in time in this episode is just absolutely incredible. It's magical. It really calls all of Star Wars in. It really, really cool. And then we have another dumbass moment where Hera is like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go search the waters again. Hey, Jason, you stay here. And so, yet again, stellar parenting advice from Hera. Hey, stay close because you don't know what's out there. Hey, go hang out on the side of the cliff. Hey, you know what? We're going to get in our ships and we're going to go travel around in the waters. You stay up here all by yourself, and we'll good luck, kid. It really doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Megan says that feeling Lucasfilm is going that way because the Force is in everything and everyone, and anybody can suddenly use it if they trained enough, such as with a muscle. And that is true. They did. George always said that the Force is in everything. It surrounds everything. The separation was there was a limited number of people that could feel it and affect it. And yes, just like most people, there are varying degrees. I can draw a little bit. I'm no professional, but I can draw, I'd say, a 6 out of 10. I'm not a 10 out of 10. If I practice, and the more I practice, the better I get, but I still don't think I'll ever reach a 10 out of 10. I might go from a 4 to a 7. That's kind of my range. But there are people that are lower on that my wife can't hardly draw a straight line. There's people that can throw coffee grounds on a piece of paper and somehow it makes art. I don't know exactly how that works. And I know that there's the midichlorian counts and things like that. But again, where's the cutoff? If I think that's where like Rogue One really hit well for me with the Church of the Force. They weren't Jedi. They could use the Force to a certain extent. They could feel it, but they couldn't affect it. They couldn't really move things. They didn't have all the abilities. It might have enhanced some of their abilities, like Chirrut. He could sense where things were going. It enhanced his, since he was blind. It enhanced his reaction time. It enhanced his hearing. But he was no Jedi, and he said that. And the idea that, oh yeah, you could be a Jedi if you just train hard enough and practice hard enough. No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, folks. It just doesn't do it. But yeah. So then they take off, leave Jason on the cliff by himself. Surprised Chopper just didn't push him over. I mean, that would have been a Chopper thing to do. And I agree, Blake, that it makes the Jedi and Sith less special. It's where do you draw the line? How do you draw the line? There's got to be something somewhere that it's either this or this. For some reason, I had the Karate Kid just come to mind. You do karate this way, good. You do karate this way, good. You do karate so squish like great. I mean, there's no middle ground here, and yeah, it's kind of annoying, really. But I regress. So yeah, we go from there. We go back down to the world between worlds, because that's, I guess, what I'll call it. And they're they're still having their lightsaber battle, and it kind of gets to a stalemate. And Anakin then does a move and cuts the floor, the bridge. It's like a glass bridge that they're on, and Ahsoka goes tumbling into the mist. And now we're about, I think it was a 38 minute show. We're now 15 to 20 minutes in. We have about 10 to 15 minutes left, and we finally get to the good stuff. And somehow Ahsoka has embodied her younger self. And they are at the Battle of Ryloth. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about Ahsoka and how she became, or her progression as she was moving up the Padawan ladder, if you will. And her first command of a detachment was at the Battle of Ryloth. And in that battle, she loses everybody almost. I mean, she did not know how to direct. She pushed and pushed for command, and then she finally got it, and it was a disaster. But we finally got to see this battle, and they come through the fog, and she sees all the carnage in front of her, and Anakin talks to her, and he tells her that I'm teaching you to lead, teaching you to survive, to fight. And she's like, what if I don't want to fight? And he says, if you stop fighting, you will die. And that was so impactful. And I know I said that there was a cool shot earlier, but Anakin goes off and leads the charge. And there's smoke and explosions all throughout. And during one of the explosions, the silhouette changes from Anakin to Vader. And the music changes. There's a little bit of breathing. The saber turns from, I believe it's blue. I'm colorblind, so it's either blue or white. Maybe it's green. I don't know. To red. And it was that, I mean, I had to pause it right there. And and I showed my wife, and I just kept going over it, time and time and time, and just watching that transformation and be like, holy crap, this is Star Wars. Yes. Carry on. Let's go from here. And then we go back up, and they're uh, still searching for, uh, for, I guess, Sabine and Ahsoka. They don't know that they're separated yet, and they're still, going through. Oh, if we keep this up, the New Republic's really going to be pissed, and we're going to run out of gas, and whatever. Oh, just keep searching. And then Chopper says, "Hey, we might have found something over here. Go check out this spot. You're going to have to fly low." And then we flash back down, and so we're kind of getting this whiplash thing of surface and then down and surface and then down and surface and down, and it's so abrupt. It almost gives you a headache checking to it. And we flash through, and it's another battle. And this one we see Ahsoka, and she's leading the charge, and there's all sorts of Mandalorians everywhere. And I'm like, holy crap, I know where we are. And then it flashes forward, and you see Commander Rex, and Tamura is there, and he's like, "We'll secure the perimeter, Commander," and he runs off. And then Anakin comes up from behind and says, "I don't know this battle." Let's see, where was I in my notes? Anakin says, "I don't know this battle," and Ahsoka, fully knowing that she is older and in this younger form, says, "We had parted by this time," and she's, she says that she feels like she is more like Anakin. And then they step out of the clouds, or out of the mist, and they're back on the bridge. And there's more breathing, and Anakin comes out, and he is now full on Vader without the suit, but he is full Sith Anakin, and he absolutely just pummels her back, and she manages to hold her own. And he takes her lightsaber, and it goes over the edge, and she does this move, and then manages to take his lightsaber, and instead of finishing it off, she leans in, and you can see Anakin's eyes, and they're all that Sith yellow and red and orange, and her eyes turn Sith colors, and then she grabs the lightsaber and tosses it, and says that, "I choose to live." And I thought that was, again, absolutely amazing. I wish they would have kept it on Mandalore rather than flashing back through the fog to get that, but I could see why they did that transition. But it was pretty cool. Let's see, where was I? So yeah, and then we get more, I guess, she's talking to Anakin, and turns around, and Anakin is gone, and she's completed her lesson. She has chosen to live. But what do we get now? I mean, it's just kind of weird. And then the scene, she just ends up getting submerged in water, almost, and I likened it kind of like to a baptism. And when as she leans back and the water envelops her, then they come and rescue her from the ocean. So was it the world between worlds, or was this just in her head, and she's just below the surface? I really don't know. Man, I really wish there wasn't a whole lot of interactions in the previous world between worlds. You could go in and see other scenes, but I don't think you could really go. I don't know. It really felt weird. Um, but so yeah, she gets rescued. She goes on to gets on the Ghost. They land. I guess they flash forward a day, and that that uh, she tells Hoyang to take Jason onto the Jedi ship and show him the training room. And it was pretty funny exchange there with Hu Yang and Jason. He was like, "Will you teach me to be a Jedi?" No. Do you know how to build a lightsaber? Yes. Will you teach me how to build a lightsaber? No. And yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Hu Yang is one of my favorite characters of the series. So I was pretty. It was pretty funny. A little bit of levity there. And Ahsoka is now apparently Ahsoka the White. After her little baptism thing, she's come back from her near-death experience and is in full Gandalf mode. But and they're like, "Well, we don't know how we're going to get over here." And Ahsoka has the idea, and they're like, "All right, well, we'll try it." And guess what? The New Republic fleet's here. We're going to have to take over. Or they want us to go back, and so Ahsoka's plan is to hijack a space whale, and hopefully that will get them where they need to go. So she communes with the space whales, the Purgle Travel Agency, and they figure that's the best way to get Sabine, get to Sabine, and hopefully, possibly, maybe Ezra, and then and then they can deal with Thrawn and go from there. One of the things that I wrote on here is kind of wonky, that she's standing outside the ship, and okay, she's in atmosphere or lesser atmosphere or something, but she goes over and knocks on the glass, and Huyang can hear it, and they're having a conversation. That this is hyperspace, people. I mean, if it's glass or plastic, it's not thin enough where you can hear it in order to be pressurized. And yes, I know Star Wars and not real physics, but even in an airplane, they have the pane of glass that's in there is 2 inches thick and it's double paned, and and they only go up to so many thousand feet, and we're talking about space here, where there's the pressures are just astronomical, but yet, hey, somehow they figure it out. And but it's sci-fi. Who knows? There are really no general rules where it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was, and that was the end of the episode. Roll credits. So I don't know. What did you guys think of episode 5? Did you like it? Was it a knock out of the park, home run, like a lot of people thought it was? I enjoyed the world between worlds. I loved the flashback sequence. This is the first time I've actually loved flashbacks. I loved when they went back. I just wish that they would have went back and we would have seen it, just in a cool thing. Even if it, they go through fog and it's a new scene. And then they go through fog and it's a new scene, but it's a continuous flashback type thing, rather than jumping back up to the surface. And then here we go back down here. And then here we go up here, and it's another bad parenting advice from Hera. And then we go back down here, and we get a little more battle, and we get a little more of the good stuff. It's just the pacing just still seems a little off. And Megan, I agree. I love the visuals in this one. Just the music was absolutely amazing. But only in the world between worlds and the waves. I love the waves. I love seeing it crash against the cliff. I'm a beach person. I love the ocean. I wish I lived nearer to an ocean, uh, but but yeah, I mean, we'll see. And then Blake said, yeah, had a good visuals, but what was the lesson really? So for me, the lesson is she was kind of given up. She's given up on hope. She's given up on Ezra. She's given up on everything. She was so single minded and finding Thrawn, and even that seemed to be on a last ditch effort. That she's basically just beaten and given up. And either in her head or in the world between worlds, Anakin is there to remind her that you either live and live full, or you're going to or die. And I think that she finally accepted that there's enough to live for and enough to fight for. So let's move on. Let's get to business. Let's not give up hope. Don't give up on Sabine. Don't let ego get in the way. Uh, do what you can to make a difference. And I think she was just halfway doing anything. Um, and yeah, and I can understand. Megan said that we all grow weary of fighting to live at times. And not only that, just get tired of fighting. Fighting is exhausting, and sometimes even with this crap that I'm dealing with, I could have either just said, you know what, screw it. I've already beat it once. I'm too tired. I'm too old to go through all that crap again. Um, so it is what it is. Just we'll let it take care of itself, or whatever. I had those thoughts when I first was diagnosed again, but I have things to live for. I have kids and a wife and friends, and so I had to pull my boots up and put my pants on and trudge forward and keep going forward. And I think Ahsoka was to the point where she just wanted to sit back in the easy boy recliner eating bonbons and just like, I'm tired of this, just whatever. She's going to be like Fat Thor, it's just who cares. And she reminded herself of there is a reason to fight, and that's what we need to do. And so she made the decision, and so we came to the point. Yeah, yep, exactly. So you're no longer fighting for yourself, but others around you as well. And I think that that is Ahsoka to a T. She's not necessarily fighting for herself anymore. She's not fighting for her survival, but she's fighting for the survival of possibly the New Republic, the survival of Sabine, possible survival of Ezra if they could find him. And yeah, I thought it was a good break. Hey, you can rest when you're dead, is what the saying is. I think, Megan. Yeah, she's had breaks. She's had, how many breaks did she have? How many years is it between end of Rebels and now? I mean, she had a break. She had a break. She had plenty of time. All right. So that was episode 5. So I think I made good time there. All right. So now we're going to get to episode 6. And the title for episode 6 was Far, Far Away. Kind of a hokey title, but you know what? It is what it is. We have Hu Yang and Ahsoka in the mouth of this space whale. Has anybody else noticed that during this hyperspace hyperspace travel, that the hyperspace colors have changed? I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed that, but this time, as they hit a hyperspace and with the ring as well, and I don't know if it's maybe because how large of a jump that they're taking. Previously, anytime that we did a jump, it was a bluish, white kind of spiral kind of effect that we got, and those were the colors. Um, and then uh, in this one, there's oranges, there's reds, yellows, plus the blues and the whites as well. So maybe it's just because as large of a jump as they're taking and how much speed that they're taking, you get more color. But it's cool. I thought it was interesting. Maybe it means nothing. Maybe it's not. But we have Ahsoka and Huyang telling stories. Um, and Huyang starts his uh, story with, long, what was it, long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, which, of course, is a iconic line that he tells. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool to have a 25,000-year-old robot that can tell you all sorts of stories as you're traveling at hyperspace speed to a different character. And yes, Megan, I believe this is I know we've read it a lot, but I think this is the first time that we get a character to actually say the lines, which is pretty cool. I kind of, fangirled or fanboyed out when he said that, and it, went to the title screen. But yeah, so they get down to the planet, or it flashes forward to Balin Skull and Shin and Morgan Elsbeth, and they go down to the planet. And I really loved this planet when it came through. And as they're going through the fog and everything, and you see these statues, and it was really cool in what do you call it? Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order, when they have, when they show these statues with the mouths open and everything. It also reminded me of, hey Andrew, welcome. No, you're never too late, man. But yeah, check out episode 5. It's in the first half of the show. If you can stick around for episode 6, we're just getting started on that. But yeah. Yeah, that said the first story was her favorite. Which one? They didn't. We didn't know which one it was that was her favorite. It'd be really interesting to know which one that one was. But yeah, and even so, when they're going to the planet, they have these statues that are kind of mammoth statues that are coming up to through the clouds. It also reminded me of Exegol when they and I guess it was Rise of Skywalker when they finally get to Exegol, and they have similar type statues that are there with the mouths and the Sith characters and different poses and whatnot. But I thought that was pretty cool effect to see. They land and have a different exchange going on with the Night Mothers that are there. Oh, they're glad that their transmissions went through to Morgan Elsbeth. And it's like, oh, we also brought this prisoner. And so they, take a good long time. My wife was even saying, why are they taking so long? Oh, we have a prisoner. Activate these 3 things. Then 5 minutes later, they finally surround her, and then they lead her off into this prison cell. And it's like, why couldn't they just say, all right, yeah, you're a prisoner, go to jail, and then march her off? It's, to me, that's a pacing issue. And I didn't really notice because I was so busy trying to take in everything that was going on in the background. Maybe that's why it was, to me, or to my wife, it was taking a long time, because I was just enjoying everything in the scene. Do you think the Zepho runes are because the Zepho were there, or did the Night Sisters worship the Zepho? I honestly think that I think they came from the same world. I think so. That's why we see the Zepho runes that are there. Maybe they worked together. Maybe we really haven't seen much of the Zepho, but maybe it was from the same planet or nearby. But I love that callback. Yeah, it was really cool to see, and made it really interesting on how they're going to tie it together. And it's cool that they're even using vehicles such as video games to add a little extra. It's not mandatory. You don't have to play the video game to know what's going on. But for those nerds like us that pick up all on this little stuff, it's just a really cool Easter egg to see. But yeah, so Sabine goes off and gets put into a jail cell. Some of my notes on the planet, we had cool visuals, the statues. I said I was writing this when I was watching it. My wife thought I was crazy for trying to take notes while watching the show, but it is what it is. I wrote down 3 Night Sisters, kind of like the 3 Fates. And I said, it says that the Night Sister says she reeks of Jedi, or it reeks of Jedi, I think is what she said. I don't think she said she. I said it reeks of Jedi, and I was wondering, is she sensing Sabine, or is it Balin and Shin that she's actually sensing? Since they kind of are Force users, and maybe they don't make the distinction between. She says Jedi, so maybe I don't know. It's hard to see what their relationship with the Sith are at this point. But is there some sort of confusion there where she sees enhanced force ability and she thinks it's Sabine, or is it possibly Balin, since he was former Jedi? But let's see. One of the things that I wrote down also was it kind of reminded me of like the sisters, the 3 Fates, and they even talk about cutting the cord. The Night Sisters do, and it really reminded me of the Greek myths of the 3 Fates. But then again, I also wrote down that, just as a note, I did read the first 2 books of Percy Jackson and the Olympians while I was there at the hospital. So maybe that's why I thought of the 3 Fates rather. And then, of course, they do imprison Sabine. She's like, well, we had a deal. I don't know. It kind of got me I was thinking that there was another show that they had where they had very similar lines, and it's like, or maybe it was something else, or we had a deal. Well, the deal changed. Pray I don't alter it more, or something like that. I don't remember what show that was, but it just kind of gave me other vibes of a different show. So yeah, they put Sabine in the prison, and then we flash to Shin and Balin, and he starts to kind of fill her in on what's going on and what he's thinking and feeling. And he tells her of the old stories, and she says, I thought it was a pretty cool line, sometimes stories are just stories. I really like that line for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly why, but I thought it was pretty cool. Sometimes stories are just stories. But yeah, there's something bigger that's out there, something that's calling to him. And what could it be? I mean, I think I have some ideas, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. And then we get another zip around where we're back to Sabine in the cell, and she reaches out and she's trying to use the force, and it doesn't really work. And then she calms herself, closes her eyes, reaches out her hand, and you kind of hear the music start to build and things start to vibrate. And lo and behold, it's not the force. Thank goodness it wasn't the force. I probably would have lost it. I really don't want her to be really force sensitive. I let her be like a a Church of the Force kind of monk type, where it enhances her Mandalorian abilities. But I really don't want her to use the Force. I think it forced on us that it has the ability to use the Force, but we're stalled yet again, because instead of yeah, Megan, thanks for stopping by. Catch the rest of it on the replay. You can fast forward the first hour. It's great to having you here. Really appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, and the Chimera comes into view, and it's a thing of beauty. I love how it comes through the cloud. I love that it's not fixed. They're limping in on impulse engines to borrow a Star Trek thing. I don't know what they call it in Star Wars, but they only have their minor engines up and running, and really the Chimera is beat to shit. It's pretty bad off, and it's absolutely glorious. And then we get this shot of all of these troopers in various states of repair, bandaged with red tape. Kind of reminded me of Marok or whatever his name was. I half expect these guys to be undead beings, troopers, and I think they called them night troopers. If you have the closed caption and on, they identified as night troopers, and it was really cool to see them. And of course, they're all chanting Thrawn. And then we get the man, the myth, the legend, Thrawn. Sublight engines. Okay. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. And the voice, perfect. I mean, it's the voice from the animated shows, so it should be perfect. Mannerisms, calm, cool, collected, very well spoken, to the point. And then we get to the visual, and it just looks weird. It reminded me of the old Willy Wonka, when Violet Beauregard becomes Violet, and they just changed the pigment on the skin, and it just really, I don't know. The eyes looked weird. The skin tone looked odd. Um, I love the voice, but what's his name? Is that Lars Mikkelsen that plays him? He kind of slouches his when anytime that you've heard Grand Admiral, you think of uh, like Tarkin or even in the animated shows, the way that he is drawn is a regal figure, kingly almost, those high cheekbones and just this commanding presence. And for me, I really didn't get that out of this character. And I was kind of let down, maybe. I mean, uh, I was talking to someone earlier today, and I was like, it didn't remind me of Grand Admiral Thrawn. It reminded me of Jeff from Chiss. That just happened to be in the Navy somewhere. I didn't get that regalness that the name of Thrawn projects, um, but yeah, so we got that. It was cool. I liked it. I loved hearing it. I almost just wanted to close my eyes. There's this cargo that I still don't think has been explained yet. They're going to load cargo on from the planet onto the Chimera, take it up to the hyperspace ring, and take it back home. So I don't know what the cargo is that they're loading up. We did really get a cool introduction to Captain Enoch. And Captain Enoch is an interesting character. And I'm trying to figure out where we've seen possibly this come from. His robe underneath, or his undersuit, is not black like a regular trooper. It's red. Which made me think of the last time that we saw all these people together. There was it an Inquisitor or part of the Inquisitorial squad that was there, and they had this battle, and then I think Ezra caused something to fall on top of him. Didn't say that he was killed, but it could be this guy. Just looking at his helmet, he's the only one that has the red Imperial cogs on the top of it. The face mask is gold. It reminds me of like Gladiator, the movie Gladiator, when the dude in the arena puts his face down and it's all gold. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I actually like that dude. His voice is kind of that dark and menacing, kind of like Morak had, that turned out to be filled with green goo. Maybe this guy is undead as well. Not really sure. But they bring out Sabine, and she sees Thrawn again, and they have a warm and cordial reunion. And he says, well, yeah, we had a deal. Your deal was you can go find Ezra. Well, here's a mount. There you go. Good luck. And he sends her on her way, keeping his promise, as a Grand Admiral should. But then he tells Balin and Shin, hey, you go follow her. And if she finds Ezra, kill them both and then come back and we'll take off. You have so much time before we do it. So make sure you do it quick. I think this mount that she's on, I believe this is on a couple of the worlds in Jedi Fallen Order, where they come up like out of the ground. It's kind of what they look like. It might not be where they're from, but it just reminded me of that type of creature. It's kind of like a wolf and horse kind of combined kind of thing. It was, yeah, kind of weird. And then she takes off, and then of course she's attacked by some marauders that are out there in the wastelands. And this shot really struck me as like a Tusken Raider attack that we saw in A New Hope. I almost expected them with their little thing. There's my Tusken Raider impersonation for you guys. But yeah, and of course she relies on her Mandalore training to get things done, which I love to see. I don't care if she has a lightsaber. Fine, great, use it. But she also uses her trick or bag of Mandalorian tricks as well. Double blasters and tow ropes, and she used the flamethrower in this one, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty good attack. Just reminded me a lot of the Tusken Raiders. And then, of course, we move on and we get the Grogu equivalent for Ahsoka show. And that are these, they're called the Nati, which are kind of like a snail type creature. Yeah, I don't know. These things were just odd, interesting, I guess. And of course, she can talk to them and kind of they speak gibberish and she can kind of understand them. And then they come to an agreement when she keeps mentioning Ezra, and he notices, or this creature notices her armband that's got the logo on it. And of course, he has one of the same. And hooray, we're going to go find Ezra, and they're going to lead her there. And then we flash forward to another or flashback for flash perspective over to another Shin and Balin exchange where they come across the carcasses of the marauders, and and then we come to the term Boken Jedi. And Boken Jedi apparently are Jedi that are trained in the wild. So anyone that was not trained in the Jedi Temple would be a Boken Jedi. What do you guys think of that term? Boken Jedi. Yay, nay, who cares? I don't know. I didn't think it really needed an explanation or a term addressed to it, but we got it. Boken Jedi. All right. Luke Skywalker is a Boken Jedi. Instead of just a regular Jedi. Does it matter? I don't know. Yeah, and that's when he tells her that, something is stirring, it's calling to him, and he's like, can you feel it? For me, that kind of got me to a, was it The Force Awakens? That when Snoke is talking to Kylo, there's been an awakening. Can you feel it? Kind of call back to that. Then flash back over, and then we finally see Ezra in his chosen form. Looks like he's straight out of the Bible with his garb and everything. Looks like a lost prophet over there. But hey, you know what? It looks like Ezra. They did a fantastic. I wasn't sure how this would work out in live action, but the character that they got to play Ezra really does well. I really enjoy it, and we'll talk more about this next week on episode 7. But fantastic casting, perfect choice for Ezra. Absolutely loved it. Then of course we flash forward to or flash perspective back to Thrawn and the Night Sisters, and they inform Thrawn that the space whales and Purgle are coming, and that with them they feel a Jedi. And and that the thread of fate is connecting them, and then he's like, all right, well, get me all you can on her, but it's not like that they haven't met before. They've had interactions before. Wouldn't he have already done his homework? I mean, this is Thrawn we're talking about here, the most intellectual, the most in depth, the most imperial of imperials. I would have thought that he would have already known everything that there is to know about Ahsoka, and that's where we end the show. So yeah, what did you guys think about episode 6? I know we kind of went through it a little bit fast. There were a lot of cool moments in this one. Lots of Easter eggs that were there. But again, other than seeing Thrawn, seeing the Chimera, finding Ezra, I thought it was really slow paced. Not really there. It's like, all right, we have 10 minutes to kind of recap what we're doing, 10, 15 minutes of recap. We have 10 to 15 minutes of really good Star Wars stuff. And then we have 5 minutes of moving the plot forward. And they break that up with all these different scenes there. But yeah, maybe it's just me. Maybe. But hey, there's episodes 5 and 6 of Ahsoka. I think right now I'm at like a 70-30 for enjoying it, just because of all the callbacks and because we are getting really good Star Wars in with this. But it is moving kind of slow. I'm really hoping that Kai Patterson does get a chance to edit this show and where it makes a little more sense for me. I really loved what he did with the Kenobi series. Megan preferred 5 to 6. I would say I would agree with that as well. But we'll see what happens. Next week, we'll be talking about episodes 7 and 8. We'll finally get the recap. 7 was this Tuesday. So if you haven't gotten to see it yet, go check out episode number 7. Number 8 will be next Tuesday. We'll talk about it next Thursday, again, live here on YouTube, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And then, of course, after us, we always have WSTR Radio, another Red 5 podcast. See, I told you there was a lot of good content here. And they're going back to their Imperial inspections. And I believe this week is Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. So don't miss that. Go check out the WSTR Radio. I believe they'll be live in about 10 minutes. So time to go to the bathroom, refresh your drink, hop back on, and go check them out. Really appreciate those that came in the chat. And again, we'll see you next time. Hopefully my face will feel better. Have a great night.